Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now celebrating 17 years of broadcasting success, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, both for our radio audience and us tuning in online worldwide. Thanks to our friends at iHeartRadio. We're glad you guys could join us as well. I'm excited to welcome actor Jeff Davis to our program today to talk to us not only about his acting journey, but what it's been like for him to do what he loves and to see the response this year. Even though it's been a chaotic year for a lot of us, thankfully, Jeff has some great projects to tell you guys about. One is a show that's going to be on Netflix. Another is a film he was able to do. We'll talk to him about that. And, of course, let you guys know how to stay connected with him online. Jeff, thank you so much for the time today. Really appreciate it.
Oh, Cyrus, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Hey, look, I've been looking forward to this. I want to begin like I typically do, Jeff, talking about the reflection. I know, as I said, this has not been the year a lot of people expected, but I always think reflecting back on the journey helps us to build appreciation for where we are. So what has it been like for you to kind of think about the amazing projects you've been a part of and what you've been able to achieve?
Well, actually, Cyrus, it was a long, slow process early on. I mean, shortly after getting to Hollywood, I got married and had a child, so that kind of slowed things down. I was a full-time dad, running my son to school and my second son, and to be honest with you, when things really opened up for me was after my youngest got his driver's license, and that was about 6 years ago, and all of a sudden it freed me up creatively, I guess, and also just mentally. And I started booking a lot more, and that's when I've landed a lot of these shows that you're talking about, and I've been able to do a lot better work and concentrate more, I think.
Yeah. What I thought was so interesting when I was prepping for your segment, Jeff, though, and I think it's a great testament for anyone that's in the creative community, is not being afraid of the work. I mean, it looks like from the very beginning you knew that this was going to be something that you had to work for. Do you think that, knowing that, kind of helped you when it came to the expectations of what you were going to be able to do when you got to Hollywood?
I do. I think I was like 28 years old when I decided to become an actor. So I had already owned my own business. So I knew going in that, this was a business. It's a show business. Right. There's a reason they call it show business. And I approached it as a business. It wasn't about, coming out here and becoming a movie star. It was about coming out here and becoming an actor and treating the business like a business, taking the time to work on my craft, taking a wide variety of roles. I mean, I like you said, I do love to tackle whatever comes my way, and I've been lucky enough to have a real diverse group of characters that I've been able to portray. So it's been a learning experience. I learn every day, and I think the best way to learn anything is by doing, and that's part of any business, I think, is to continue to grow.
Yeah, and that growing, I think, is one of the things that people respect so much. Part of what has really changed, it's interesting hearing you talk about the timeline there, Jeff, because social media, really now is a part of our lives. And I think, thankfully so in 2020, because it kind of keeps everyone connected and sane, I think, to a certain extent. What was that like for you? You talked about the booking aspect picking up, but did you also feel as though the learning curve kind of picked up, too, about the things that came with the acting?
Yeah, like you said, the social media, that's definitely a whole new world. When I started in the business, I had a pager. I didn't even have a cell phone. So it's definitely, we've come a long ways. But
right.
Yeah, the learning curve, learning to actually connect with fans. I think that the best thing about social media is, I think now, as an actor, whether you're a big-time actor or someone like myself, kind of middle of the road, we're working, I can connect directly with the fans through social media, and I try to, as much as possible, respond and give positive energy back to them and thank them for supporting me. So the social media has, it's been good that way.
Yeah. And I think that's been one of the great things, too, about us now being able to stay connected. And I think, too, as people kind of reflect on this journey, it's interesting. I didn't know exactly, when you kind of had that big push, but it kind of makes sense to me now, because I notice for people who are if they're following you on, like, Twitter, they'll notice on your IMDb, I mean, literally your pinned post, and this is what is so funny now with us having this conversation, Jeff, is that literally your pinned post was from 5 years ago of your IMDb page. And so it really does show. So, I mean, let's talk about that part, because, I mean, to reflect on the work is one thing, but think about the names of the programs you've been a part of. What has that been like for you to kind of think of being a part of these projects that now are just a part of our lives?
It's amazing. I mean, when I look back, I mean, doing the work as it's going along, it's a job. But when I look back,
right,
and someone like yourself reflects on, you were on Grey's Anatomy, you were on West Wing, you were, it's like, wow, I was, maybe a lot of people don't remember seeing me on those shows, but being a part of them is a part of history. And as an actor, growing as I go along, I mean, it's been kind of surreal. I grew up watching. I mean, I've worked with a lot of actors that I grew up, watching and saying, wow, I'd like to be doing that someday. And recently I did an episode of 13 Reasons Why for Netflix, and I was talking to Steven Weber, who's been around forever, and had a great talk with him about people that we know in the industry and how long he's been doing it and stuff that happened years ago. And it's just amazing to sit and talk with some of these people.
Yeah. And I think, too, I mean, you talk about these roles, and that's the great thing, again, about technology, because now there are clips, right? And now you're able to have those archived and for people to be able to see that and really say, wow, what a body of work. And that brings me to this point, and then we're going to get into the projects that you've been talking about this year, Jeff, because not only, and that's why I'm so glad to have you on, because not only are you being able to be a part of the entertainment, you also are being able to show other people about the business. How does that feel to know that by the journey, by sharing your story like you're doing here, that you are inspiring other people who are wondering, okay, did I wait too late, or can I do this, or what do I need to do this? What has that been like for you to know that your example can be one that other people can look at?
Actually, it's been great. I mean, it's really rewarding. I mean, I actually was inspired by another actor. I mean, I did some, early on I did a play in an acting class in Maine, where I'm from, and hadn't really thought much about actually going to L.A. and actor. Then I saw this young lady who was in my class on TV. She had gone to New York and booked a soap, and that was my book. I said, I can do that. She did that. I can do that. And I've actually recently, through some of the articles, printed, I had a big article in my local newspaper, and I had a girl contact me through social media and said, I'm so glad to see that now I realize I can take a chance and I can go to New York. Wow. And, so it definitely, it feels good. And I do a lot of, I've had a lot of people ask me, about that and the business of it. I try to explain to them that, the first thing you need to do when you decide to get in this business is actually find a way to make a living besides acting, because it takes time. It's not going to just happen.
Yeah.
And
I'm so glad you mentioned that.
It's good for people to know that.
Right, and you did an interview that people can read on your Instagram. We're going to be giving that out a little bit later, Jeff. I read it when I was prepping for this with Levity Ball, and they always do such great features, and you were featured by them, and that's one of the things that you shared is that you have to make sure that you have a plan, right? I mean, yes, there are those
Absolutely.
people who just come out and, things just seem to automatically happen, but having the plan takes the stress off, you even mentioned. Let's talk about that part, because one of the fun things that you've done with Instagram, since I mentioned that, is even sharing, the process, like sharing the accents, that kind of thing. Did you know going into using platforms like that, Jeff, that you wanted to kind of not only showcase what you were doing, but also the work behind what you were doing?
Well, I'm still trying to figure that stuff out myself. the whole social media part. I just, you know what? Right. It's funny. I didn't plan it. No, I'm driving along sometimes, and all of a sudden these accents come to my head. Had never really worked on accents. I just think of something. I've been pulling over in my car, and I start talking in a British accent. Or next thing I know, I'm talking in a Texas. So I thought, you know what? I want to share this with people. Let them see how my process works. I mean, it's kind of, I'm sure it's not like anybody else's. I just kind of, I just do what I do, and I don't know. There's no rhyme or reason, but I thought I would share it with them. So I pull over in the car, and I put my camera in the mount, and I just start talking, and whatever comes out, comes out.
Yeah. I know there's not a lot that you can tell us right now because of what's happening with the Netflix project. If you don't mind, let's talk about the film for a moment, Outrage. How did you first find out about it?
It's funny. That was actually, I did a movie in Texas before that one called Showdown on the Brazos, which completely through Facebook. I was contacted through from the director, and I played it was a Western, and I play a preacher. And this young upcoming director who was doing this movie Outrage came to the set to meet me. He had heard from some of the other actors that this guy from California was out there, and he's really good, and you should meet him. And he came and met me and asked me to star in his movie. And so a couple months later, I was back shooting Outrage, which is a fun little action movie, a lot of martial arts and car chases. And I play a dad whose daughter gets kidnapped, and I call on some friends to help me get her back.
Wow. What a great thing. And so, like I said, I totally understand that because, things are still going with the Netflix show. You may not be able to talk a lot about it, but how does that feel, though, to be a part of a project like Ratchet and to know the response that people are already having to it coming?
Oh, that was amazing. When I got the call for Ratchet, I knew, I did my research and knew that it was going to be huge. It's been years in the making. It's a prequel to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and the actors involved. Just got some amazing talent. Sarah Paulson and Judy Davis and Cynthia Nixon and Sharon Stone, Rosanna Arquette, Vincent D'Onofrio. It's just a crazy cast, and the characters. They're delving into the mind of Nurse Ratchet when she first becomes a nurse, and her life and how she became the monster that we see in the feature film One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And it's just very well done and a great story. And a lot of the original writers and producers from Cuckoo's Nest are involved in it, so it's really sticks true to the characters of the movie.
Wow, what a cool thing! Gives us something to look forward to
it's now. So it's you can. Yeah.
Well, definitely we invite our audience to make sure you guys head over to Netflix and be able to catch Ratchet there. So I want to ask you this question. One of the things we were talking about before we went on here, Jeff, is that you and I both have a love of positivity and sharing that with other people. I want to talk to you about the balancing act, and I appreciate you sharing early about when you came to Los Angeles, balancing family, then, of course, with career and everything. How do you do it? Because, we're living in interesting times. How have you been able to find that balance today where we are definitely appreciating the work you've done, but also looking ahead to what you can do?
I just take day by day. It's been it has been a crazy year, and we've done nothing in the entertainment industry. I was lucky enough, I did an episode of SWAT in February just before we shut down. But since then, it's been nothing. So I've been just spending my time collaborating with other writers, actors, directors, trying to get projects ready to go so that as soon as things do get back to somewhat normal, I could start shooting some of my own projects. But, it's tough. I've always been a positive person. Negativity has no place in my world. So I try to just look forward and take every day as it comes and say, you know what? Tomorrow's going to be a little bit better, and we'll work a little bit harder, we'll strive a little bit more, and we'll make something happen. So I think that's what's kept me going for, all these years, even though, I haven't had my own, I'm not on my own series, I'm not starring in big feature films, but I'm a working actor, and that's basically what I always wanted to be. I wanted to continue to work as an actor. So,
It's a great perspective and a great way to look at it, and I think that, to me, is definitely the definition of success. Again, everyone, Jeff Davis has been our guest. We've been talking to Jeff not only about the journey to doing what he loves, but what it's been like for him to share that with all of you. So, Jeff, how can our audience stay connected with you?
You can find me anywhere from Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, it's JF Davis Actor. I use the same handle across the board. So if you just go to the Google JF Davis Actor, they'll all pop up.
All right. So make sure you guys definitely stay connected. For those joining us online through our friends at iHeartRadio, we'll be linking that for you guys to make it easy for you. Jeff, congratulations to you again. Thank you so much for the time, and looking forward to having you back on the program again.
Cyrus, anytime, and thank you, and continued success for you. I love what you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Definitely want to thank our good friend Zach Tepperman for setting up this chat with us for today, and thank all of you, our audience, for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Let's make today amazing. Take care.